kind of a nice facility for this too. How did you pick Gateway?
Well, we got lucky. We always wanted an indoor facility kind of close to the racetrack. We moved a couple times, and then when I found this, and the people here are great to work with us because, you know, this is state-of-the-art NHRA facility, and they work with us. They, you know, realize we're just here to play, and it's really couldn't work out better. Basically, we'll run today. We've got a banquet tonight, just kind of the members to get together. Then tomorrow's an indoor show. We should have 50 plus of these cars indoors tomorrow for the public to look at. The record is 61, which we had last year. This year, we're probably going to be down just a little bit, but it's unprecedented the number of supercars we get in one location.
And to put them on a track.
Well, that's the amazing part. There's other shows that probably might get the cars, but there's nobody that I know of that rents a racetrack and the owners say, hey, I'm going to go race.
And are these guys having a blast?
Oh, they love it. Just wait at the end of the day and go talk to them, and they're going to have smiles a mile wide, and they have a blast.
That is so cool. Well, I know you got to get going, and these guys want to get on the track, so let's check a few cars out and then get them running.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Welcome back to My Classic Car and Supercar Reunion 8.
Okay, Ken, this is a 67 Z28. Is it the real deal?
This is the real deal.
But it says 68 on the back.
It does.
On the license plate.
It does. I believe Herb Fox probably found a 68 dealer demo license plate early on in the 68 season and decided to just put it on.
But it's a 67.
It's a 67. They made 602 of these.
And this car was bought right out of the dealership as a race car.
It was, yeah. Fred Gibb, this was his personal first race car. He went right out to the track as soon as he bought it from the dealership.
And went on racing.
Yep, it was sold as a World Championship race car.
And this thing has held many, many records.
Many. It set, I believe, up to 37 world records.
Yeah, if you know motions, that's the key is the headlights, the hood. There's a lot of defining parts of a motion Corvette.
Well, and probably the most defining piece is what's in fact under that hood.
Yes, that's what
Let's
made
have a
him
look at
famous.
that. It is the
435 horse, 427, 4-speed car, no options, basically all motor.
And every one of these was performance proven before they went into the car.
They also came with a guarantee. This style Corvette, he guaranteed an 1150 quarter mile time, or he would give you your money back.
That's pretty good.
Yes.
Well, now are you going to put it on the track?
Yeah, I've made a couple passes. I'll probably make a few more, but I wouldn't expect any 1150s with me at the wheel. Yes.
Jamie, thanks so much, man.
Thank you.
Great work, buddy. You did a great job on this.
Thank you.
Stay close. We'll look at more supercars from the Gateway International Raceway.
Welcome back to My Classic Car.
So, Tom, in addition to organizing this controlled chaos, you also brought some pretty cool cars. You brought your yellow Yanko Camaro. You brought your blue Yanko Nova, right? But then you brought this baby.
Yeah,
tell me about this car.
Well, first of all, the boys tell me this is my car. They don't want much to do with it. What this is this Dick Harrell's 1968 flip-top funny car. It was the first flip-top funny car that he raced. It's a Chevy 454 big block, 871 blower. I run it on alcohol. He ran it on natural. I run it on alcohol. Somewhere in the neighborhood, 1,400 horsepower.
That's respectable.
400 automatic. Basically, pretty well the way Dick ran it back then. Back then, he was running right at 200 miles an hour in the 7-second range in the quarter mile. NHRA limits me to the 8th mile because I restored it back to the way it was in 1968, which is fine with me, so I don't have to worry about hurting myself or others. And I just made a highest 5-second pass, which is always my goal.
That's very respectable. Now, this was kind of early in the whole flip-top era, wasn't it?
Very early. It was one of the first Camaros built. Don Hardy was a funny car chassis builder. This is chassis 01.
Wow.
And like I said, this was Dick's first. I don't know who had the first Camaro. This is going to be real close. This was in the infancy of funny car racing. Basically, they were going from altered wheelbase to this. And like I said, this was his first.
Now, how did he get started in this? I mean, he's a big name in racing always, and he's kind of
The
from
Midwest, but he did have a shop in St. Louis. He ran under in '67. He was sponsored by Yanko Chevrolet. Before that, Nicky Chevrolet.
and running right here.
Right, ran right here. Actually, there was an older track. This track's not that old, but he ran in the Midwest. This summer I was at Kansas City and actually ran at the same track that Dick raced at KCIR.
Was that pretty cool?
That was real cool too, and especially a lot of his former employees and people that remembered the car being there came up and to see the same car on the same track. It was pretty neat.
Well, how were you able to even gather the information to restore it right?
Well, first of all, I started buying lots of magazines from that era, looking at pictures, going on eBay, buying pictures, anything I could find. I was getting close, and then I found a gentleman by the name of Dave Libby and a couple others who actually worked on the car back in 1968, and I would call them up and say, hey, you know, I've got another dumb question, and they would answer it for me. And probably one of the neatest things about the car was I got it done, and 2 years ago I took it to Englishtown to the Funny Car reunion out there. And Dave Libby flew in, hadn't seen the car since 1968, and just,
Wow.
just the expression on his face when he gets out and sees the car roll out of the trailer, and I let him prime it, and we fired it and everything, and it was kind of neat.
That had to be special.
It really was for me and him, and just it was a special moment.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for bringing all of them out.
Hey, you're sure welcome, Dennis.
Oh man, the Supercar Reunion is an incredible event. To see these awesome machines lining up and flying down a drag strip, it's a beautiful thing. Labor Day weekend, Gateway International Raceway, just across the river from St. Louis. Believe me, it's worth the trip.
Next week, we'll check out some of the coolest finned Mopars. These cruisers are perfect examples of the design excess of the 50s. Plus, we'll check out the all-new reproduction Camaro body.
So until our next meeting, remember, honor the timeless classics. I'm Dennis Gage. Happy motoring.